Hello again. We've reincarnated. It's a different us. Okay. Yeah, if you think about it, we're never the same person. But we have this concept that we are solid, that we are immortal. We live as if we were immortal. Don't we? Anyways. Can you hear? It's good? Okay. All right. Yeah, I just remembered, about the prayer and the habit alignment. It's true. Attitude changes the brain. And it's true. Not just in a spiritual level, but at a scientific level. So, attitude, we are able to create new brain neurons, create, new pathways. So, we're always recreating ourselves. So, we can always, be a different version of ourselves if we want. So that's always a possibility. So we strive to be the best version of ourselves. And if not, at least, be a better version of ourselves from yesterday. Okay, so number 4. We just got to number 4. What?
You can come back very soon.
You can come back. I'm going to try. I'll try, we can try. Dreaming. So, it's interesting, we really like the concept of dreaming. For me, dreaming is a beautiful idea. But if you think about it, we're all dreaming. We're kind of sleeping, in a way. We're asleep. Because, first of all, we believe so strong that what we see is what there is. Right? But if you think about it, what we see is just what we receive, through the neurotransmitters, the nerves that they inform us of what they receive. It's information transformed by the brain. And then we perceive that, and then we react to it. I want, I don't want, or I don't care. Right? Those are the 3 kind of ways we react to that. And based on that, we create a habit. So that's basic. Dharma is helping us to break those habits, to change that. So if you're equanimous, then you'll be more happy. Because first of all, how to be more equanimous is by recognizing that what we are perceiving has absolutely nothing to do with what really is there. It's just a concept. It's a point of view. Because for some people it will look in one way, for other people it will look for another way. Just an example. Let's say we make a group photo today. And then you will look, when you see the group photo, what are you going to look for the first thing?
Oh,
me, right? Do I look good in the photo? That's at least that's what I do. So I'm going to talk about myself. Do I look good? And what is my first thought? Oh, I look terrible. Oh, my hair or this, or I wasn't smiling, or the photo, this kind of insatisfaction, like, oh, I don't look good in that photo. So I'm critical about myself, right? And then 10 years pass by, and I see the exact same photo, and I'm like, wow, I really look good at that time. I was young, and now I look terrible. I'm getting older. All these preconceptions come in. But if you think about it, the photo is exactly the same. What changed? Your perception, your point of view, your attitude towards yourself. The labeling. So that's why it's just that example is enough for you to see that what you perceive has absolutely nothing to do with reality. So when you understand that, your problems become smaller. And also it helps you to change your attitude, Because then it really makes you question. It makes you question. Because if you think about it, if there's not a perceiver, if there isn't a perceiver, what has color, what has taste, what has smell? We are the ones who give it that. In a way, we perceive it and then we see it as that way. Anyways, that's going into another story. But just think about that, right? That you could call that analytical meditation, for example. It's really helpful to think every day, to check, to doubt, to question what you think is real, what you think is solid. Question it every day. That's going to help you a lot to improve in life. Because then things are not going to affect you so much. We won't be drowning, we'll be more like floating. And then we can help others to float too. So, anyways, I can't really talk about that because I'm the first one who's drowning in the what do you call it, the quicksands. We all need help, you know, so it's good, you know, help you improve yourself in order to be able to offer that service, to be able to offer that help. So for me, my main purpose in life is to be of service. If I can help, then I'm happy. That's what my happiness is based on. Of course, I have some temporal happiness which I can be, you know, attached to like that. But at least I've tried to be aware and I try to change that, you know, slowly, and try to move those habit patterns, you know, like into a more kind of productive kind of habit. So anyways, dreaming. So this is a little bit like a dream. If you think about in a dream, we do have this concept of me, right? I mean, we can be scared. If we fall down a cliff, we'll get scared and we'll wake up. Even though it's just a dream, right? We won't die, but we still have that concept. We're so attached to that concept of me in relation to everything that surrounds us. So we are kind of dreaming, and the point is to wake up here, right? So I mean, you were talking about, who is it? Yoga, dreaming yoga or something? Was it you? Yeah, so dreaming yoga is a little bit like how to train within the dream in order to train to wake up in the everyday life. Something like that. That's the concept a little bit. So to use the tools that we have. So basically you say, oh, I don't know how to meditate. Well, actually, guess what? We are professional meditators, all of us. Really. We spent 9 months in meditation when we were in the womb of our mother, right? 9 months meditating. And then 1/3 of our life we're meditating when we're sleeping. Sleep meditation, right? So we're professionals. You know, so don't think, oh, I can't meditate. No, you are already a great meditator. You just have to see that. So yeah, dreaming, so it's different. I mean, if you're interested in yoga, dreaming, or dream yoga, something like that, I mean, you can do some training. You can try to, you know, awake inside the dream, you know. There's different techniques. Like if you look at your hands every day, you look at your hands very, you know, like that, maybe 5-10 times a day. You create the habit of looking at your hands, and then you'll do it in a dream. When you look at your hands in your dream, then suddenly, boom, you connect with your everyday life. And most of the times you'll wake up. You should be like, oh, this is a dream, and boom, and you wake up. So that's a good technique, you know. Why? Because we see our hands every day, and in our dream we never look at our hands. So when we look at our hands, we connect with the mind, you know, that we have in the everyday life. So then it kind of like wakes us up. So that's a good training. Just, you know, an idea. I learned that from Don Juan, actually. From one of the books of Don Juan, you know. So I just thought it was really interesting. But it's, yeah. I mean, we look at in the dream, when you look at things, everything's changing constantly, because in the end, it's just energy, right? Vibrating. So you look at our hands and you see, and then after 2 seconds, it's changing and something else and this and that, you know. Or we wake up, or so it's interesting just to compare. But the dream, of course, it's a subconscious aspect. So we do have to kind of like turn off our mind in order to fall asleep. And that's one of the reasons why many people can't fall asleep sometimes at night, because we just keep thinking, and then finally we just get so tired of thinking, we just fall asleep. We don't even realize how we fell asleep. So sometimes that kind of meditation is good, to stop the thinking and just to breathe, and then the moment you stop thinking, you fall asleep much easier, actually. And if you fall asleep breathing in a peaceful kind of attitude, then that's going to help during the dream state to be in a more kind of like peaceful dream, or more beautiful dream, you know. So, yeah. But it's also about perspective, you know, because sometimes, for example, in the Tibetan, in a dream, when you dream of somebody dying, it means they're going to have a long life. So you never know. So something bad could actually mean something good. I mean, I don't know. In life, something happens like that. Something bad happened, at least from our perspective, oh, something terrible happened. And we get all depressed and unhappy and worried and this and that. But actually, maybe on the long run, that is one of the best things that happened to us. Because it created the cause and the circumstances for something else to open up, to change, and then we, boom. And sometimes we're scared of change. Why? Because we're scared of what we don't know. We're we're fearful of the unknown. So sometimes, that's why we are scared of change, but I think, we have to trust in our intuition, we have to, believe in ourselves. There's a good saying I like of a friend. He used to always use this phrase. It says, be proud for you are, but be humble for you belong. So it's to find the balance. Be proud because you exist, because you are who you are. So be proud for being who you are. But at the same time, be humble because you belong. You're part of something much bigger than you. So if you put that into place, that balance helps you a lot to have a kind of middle way attitude in life. Because the extremes are not really helpful. Okay, maybe it can be helpful to understand where the middle path is. But eventually you want to have middle path. My father used to always say, with moderation, everything is good. I don't know if that really applies to everything, but anyway, he used to say that. He said, even water can be bad if you drink too much, right? So that's why, moderation. That's one thing that my father taught me that has helped me a lot. Moderation. I'm not sure the microphone is working properly. Okay, so dreaming. So that's maybe a little help, okay? I can't really go into it too much because it can create confusion, but everybody has different dreams and everybody has dreams based on their own life. So, nobody can say, oh, this dream, that means this and that, I think sometimes we have to interpret our own dreams based on our own perspective. So, in general, there can be explanations for dreams, but normally I think most dreams is like a private, personal thing. So we have to interpret, and then of course, there's so many different variations of explanations of dreams in all kinds of different cultures and traditions. So it can create a lot of confusion, but maybe sometimes you can identify, oh, that makes sense, for now, and then maybe next year it changes, who knows. But at least like that, it's okay. So mainly my suggestion is to try to have a peaceful mind before going to sleep, positive thinking. Okay, I hope that helps. So basically, Buddhism helps you to be a better person. Whatever religion you are, whatever lifestyle you have, whatever it is that you do, Buddhism or Dharma mainly is helping you to be better at what you're doing, whatever it is that you're doing. Okay. Okay, so death. Death is the next one. So death, think about it. We're constantly changing, right? We are the result of the us before, and we're happening. We're happening. It's not like, oh, I am this. No, I am being. It's a happening. It's a continuation. So death is a little bit like that. It's just transformation. It's just continuation. It's not a bad thing. Some people may see it as a bad thing. No. And to say goodbye is not to let go. To say goodbye is to say thank you. Right? Just think about that, that kind of... It's just change your perception, right? Change your attitude and then change your life. It's just the way you see it. Because we perceive things in the way we choose to perceive it. So that's why sometimes it's good to challenge what we perceive. Is it real? Is it not real? That's why the movie The Matrix for me was really interesting. Really helped me, really. After when I came out of The Matrix, I was like, is this real? Is this real? What is this? Wow. Yeah, I like these movies or even reading books about Dharma or going to the teachings helps me to challenge my reality. And that's good, because it keeps me on the tips of my toes. Did you say that? Yes. Helps you to keep on. Okay, so next one, climate change. Yeah, so climate change, I think, yes, it's a real thing. It is happening, all the glaciers are melting and things are changing. So, the planet has gone through big changes throughout the millions of years. So I'm not so worried about the planet. I'm more worried about the humans and all the sentient beings that are living on the earth. That's what worries me more. The earth, she'll sneeze or get a fever and she'll wipe us out. And then that's it. So if you think about it, like the natives of the earth are the ones who protect and take care and adapt to it, right? If you look at the animals, every single animal adapts to the circumstances, adapts to nature. But we are different. We force nature to adapt to us. So we have to change everything to how we want it to be. right? And that's one of the reasons also why we are unhappy, because that's the mentality we have. It's like instead of saying, okay, I'm going to wear some shoes so I don't have to get thorns on my feet, it's like, oh, I'm going to put leather all over the surface of the earth just so that I don't get thorns on my feet. It's that kind of mentality, the one we have as a collective, So that's something I think that has to change. And I think climate change is like more of a warning. It's more of a warning. It's like, hey, a wake-up call. So it's good to be aware of it, and it's good to start making changes at an individual level based on your lifestyle. So inform yourself, educate yourself, learn how to be part of that change in order to make a better place for the future generations. So that's my take on climate change. And yeah, it's a process. It takes time, slowly. But if you can create less rubbish or consume less things that have an impact on the carbon impact, so those kind of concepts, that's good, like. Anyways, so just inform yourself, learn about it, and try to be part of that movement. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. It's greed, it's this on a physical level. But do you also think that it's a reflection of what's going on in our mind?
Oh yeah.
We create the...
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, we trash our bodies the same way we trash the planet. And we do create an environment which is not very healthy for humans. The same way it's for the so it's like a vice versa. It is a reflection kind of thing, Our attitude with ourselves kind of represents also a little bit society's attitude towards itself. And that's, I think, what has to change. We have to make an effort to that. But if you think about it, there's so many good things happening, though. So many kids of the new generation are finding new ways of how to clean the oceans, or renewable energies, or people becoming vegans. There's a lot of really amazing things happening. So I really feel personally that we are entering a golden age, or that we are in a golden age, in many, many different aspects, compared to like the dark ages in the medieval times, that was terrible. Now, we're really, if you think about it, we have the kind of merit and karma that kings used to have back in the days. Only the kings could eat good food and watch some nice images like, people like theater or dancing or whatever it is, and then good smells, perfumes, and listen to the music, right? A king would have like a whole band playing, and then a whole theater, doing theater for them, and they'll be eating good food and good smells. So all bombarded by all the senses at the same time. That was like the ultimate kind of samsaric enjoyment or happiness. And these days, everybody, we can have that. We have a computer, we have the food, we have smell, we have the music, we just press a button, we have the music. Back in the days, they didn't have that. So we do have the merits of kings. We do have that situation. We just don't see it, maybe. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that we're in a good situation right now. And I have high hopes for the future. I really do. And I would love to be part of that. Okay, Transgender Buddhism. What?
Tree planting.
Tree planting. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, it's a project I have. Personally, I love to plant trees. I've been planting trees since I was a child, and I love planting trees. And I think it's just I don't know, it's something. Trees are a little bit like the hairs, of the earth, right? A little bit. Maybe it's not very good metaphor, but anyways. So yeah, I think even if you plant one tree, that tree will be there 200, 300 years after you. It will have an impact. So it's also how to. We have to recognize that we're impermanent, and that we won't be here in X amount of time. So create a situation for the future generations, And I think planting a tree is not so difficult, And it has a huge impact, even one tree. So anyway, I wanted to. It hasn't actually come together yet, the whole project, but I do have this idea to create a project, to create like a collective kind of movement all around the globe, people to plant trees and then offer that to His Holiness the Dalai Lama as part of his tree planting movement. So it's just an idea, but I'm happy that you mentioned it, so I could share that. So if anybody who wants to plant trees, please be happy and to do that. You know, it's great. Anybody can do that. And just go to a mountain, plant a tree. Easier said than done. But yeah, I mean, of course, the trees need caring and water and the situation. But once they take root, then they can, grow by themselves. And if you plant enough trees, you actually create a whole ecosystem that will attract the rain, and then, so they themselves will actually keep growing, and they will create maybe you plant 10 trees today, and maybe 50 years later it's a whole forest. Who knows? I have seen stories like that, very inspiring stories of people who for 10, 15, 20 years have been planting trees, have like changed the desert into a whole oasis of trees and beautiful wildlife, like where all the animals can live. It's just beautiful, really inspiring stories. So anyways, you just start with one, right? So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So transgender Buddhism, that's very interesting, because, like for example, people, sometimes we are born in a body which we don't identify with, right? So it's amazing these days we have the technologies available for us to change our sex, right? That's amazing. If you're born as a man and you feel more like a woman, you can become a woman if you want. That's amazing. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's great. And that we have the opportunity and that we are able to do it. And not only that, but society accepts it and helps you to do it. So that's beautiful. Sorry? Self-delusion. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole life is self-delusion.
I don't care. Why perpetuate that particular self-delusion?
Well, if you put yourself in the body of a person who doesn't feel comfortable with themselves, I think maybe you change opinion.
No, I
well,
not about it.
And then maybe compassion can help. I think compassion is a very important key to be aware of the suffering of people. And that is also the key for happiness.
People feed the illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors do, nurses do, the media does. Instead of, you've got to live life by reference to what is true. Where's truth from?
Well, capitalism is not a real thing. I mean, the society,
I'm not talking about capitalism.
but in general,
Self-delusion.
yeah.
Why is the truth not to be in your body? Your body is not truth, but it's to be somewhere.
Because it's a delusion.
What makes you think that?
Okay, tell me what is not a delusion. Tell me what is not a delusion.
How long have you got?
Sorry?
How long have you got? Shall we just talk about
Just one example. What is not delusion? In everyday life. Any example, doesn't matter. Just one example.
birth? Birth.
Birth is not delusion?
No, of course not.
Why?
Because you create life. The creation of life is not an illusion.
But then it's gone.
So what? You asked the question. You asked me to give you an example. Creation of life is real.
Okay, what's the definition of delusion for you? Just so that I can understand better what you're trying to say.
It is to accept as real that which is not real.
So that we are making that mistake every day. And that is exactly the problem. That is what do you call it? The symptom. The symptom, would you say symptom? Or the problem or the issue? That we actually, we get so attached to a concept. We really believe to be true. So actually, that's what Dharma is helping us with. Ignorance is the base for the delusion, for the suffering, for being trapped in samsara, in the cycle of life and death. So I think it's very important, of course, to learn about that. But within that, within all the delusions of life, for some people it's very important to be comfortable with themselves.
Well, of course it is, but it doesn't alter the fact that they are encouraged to believe something which is
Yeah.
simply not true.
Well, consumerism is that too. You can consume. They say, oh, if you consume, if you buy a new car, you're more happy. If you get a house, you're more happy. If you get this, if you're more happy. If you do that, more. It's all of it is the same. It's the same, you know.
Well, how does that help your
With all
argument?
due respect, the question was, what's Buddha's perspective on transgender when you feel that you're trapped in the wrong body? It wasn't that it's a great world that we can just immediately just have a sex change. There are many people that have sex changes that want to go back afterwards. There are many people, there are children now being given drugs before they've gone through puberty to take hormones. There must be a grander concept than just handing it over to the hospital and saying, oh, well, just turn me into something else. What is the grander concept of that dilemma?
Well, that's up to us to see it individually.
There must be some perspective from,
Of course, this.
from Tibetan Buddhism that can
Oh,
give
yeah.
some solace to people that are in that position.
Well, I mean, I'm not in that person's mind or I'm not in that person's body, but I try to have a kind of idea of maybe why do they suffer? Why are they in that situation? I mean, we are all suffering actually.
Why doesn't Buddhism encourage people to find contentment in who they are?
That's exactly the point of Buddhism. But you see, I'm not a teacher and I don't teach Buddhism. I'm sharing my experience through what I have learned of Buddhism and trying to kind of like make it in a more simple way. So I'm learning too, you know, and I'm for sure 100% I make lots of mistakes, but I try to have a more positive aspect of life because that's what's really going to help. If I'm pessimistic, all I'm going to have is a black cloud in my head. It's not really going to help. Unless, of course, I learn from that and I use it as a means to improve, right? So yes, I agree, of course, there's terrible things happening and there's so many things that are really difficult to understand. I mean, I don't understand many things about society at all.
I just wonder, because I had a conversation with a Lama recently on a very deep topic,
Yeah.
and it was only then he transmitted to me through his painful experience the concept of reincarnation, because he said to me forgiveness about something really terrible, and if anyone else had said it to me, I may not have been able to actually take that on board. So I just wonder, because he said about cause and effect, his uncle had been murdered, and his brother, and he said, well, he created so much merit in this life, but previous lifetime he may have done something that was unwholesome, and therefore there may be a cause and effect. So I just wonder, when someone's suffering so much in this life, as much as it's about being optimistic, if they feel like they're trapped in the wrong body, is there a cause and effect?
Okay, let's go down to the point.
That's a big question to ask.
So it's okay. Let's go down to the point, motivation. So if the motivation is to make money, it's going to be very different than if the motivation is truly to help someone improve their life. So both motivations are there, but they get mixed up. So it becomes business and intention to help. So it's just a question of seeing it how it is and trying to at least, you know, not get overwhelmed or completely involved in a negative way, but try to see it in a kind of neutral way. Try to maybe understand it from your own perspective. I can't understand it from your perspective, but I can try to have that.
From my perspective.
Well, anything from your perspective. It's difficult for me to understand, right? But I can try to put myself in your situation in order to try to have a small point of view. So that's what I'm doing here. And somebody asked, I don't know who it was, who asked me to talk about transgender.
It was me.
Okay, it was you, good. So that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm trying to see the positive aspect of that. Okay? So in Buddhism, I don't know. Personally, we both have female and male within us. That's very clear, right? How do we want to appear outside? That's a personal issue. That's a private thing. Nobody can tell you you're this, you're that, and that's up to you to decide. You know, so I respect that completely. And that's all I have to say about this for now. And thank you for the question. Okay? Relationships. So I think that's a great one, because I think that's a key one. So relationship starts with oneself, right? The relationship with yourself. You look at yourself. You have to live with yourself every day, right? So if you respect yourself, if you love yourself, if you take care of yourself, then it's very easy to love, to take care, to respect others. If you don't have patience with yourself, you'll never have patience with anyone. If you're not kind and gentle with yourself, it's difficult to be kind and gentle with others. So you start with yourself. Relationship, for example, any relationship. Like some people, if you don't know how to be alone, if you're unhappy being alone, you will be unhappy with someone. Even if you're in a relationship, you will feel lonely in a relationship. So you have to learn how to be alone. You have to learn how to be comfortable and happy. You have to be your own best friend. If you find that, wherever you are, whoever you are with, you know, you will have a kind of fulfilling relationship, let's say. Okay? So that's a little bit, for me, how relationship works. It's like it all starts within. It all starts within. Work with that. You know, for me, the demons are not outside. The demons are inside. Just like the angels, everything is inside. So we have to confront that. We see that. And then when we transform that, then we can help to transform that outside also. Because each person has that responsibility. We have a responsibility with ourselves. It's very easy to say, oh, it's destiny. Oh, it's karma. That's it. You know, that's a kind of a simple way of thinking, very, like maybe even lazy, I don't know. Or maybe we are fearful of our potential. But if we say, hey, it's my responsibility, you know, I have a responsibility, then at least you do something about it. You take it in your hands. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, I'm just here and that's what's going to happen and I'm going to die one day, so I'm going to have fun and that's it, you know. That kind of point of view is a little bit, it can complicate things in the long run. So that's also, Dharma is also talking about the relationship with yourself. One of the steps into understanding emptiness is observing the I, the me, that doesn't really exist from its own side, right? So that kind of observation, that's the beginning. That is the beginning. So the relationship, I think, is a key, essential aspect of life. The relationship with yourself. You know, how long can you be by yourself, happy, without any kind of entertainment or distractions? Think about it. These days we're used to having cell phones. We're used to, you know, this and that and and then we just, or we're working, or we're here, we're there, Then at the end of the day, we're just tired, we just go to sleep, we wake up in the morning. We don't really have time, we don't give ourselves time to really just sit down, breathe, and say, hey, okay, what's going on? I'm here now, and it's happening, it's constantly happening. So that's, you know, the relationship with yourself, you know, like take care of yourself, love yourself, you know, be aware of your body, be grateful for your body, your feet, your legs are, you know, working for you constantly. You know, I don't know, massage your feet a little bit sometimes. I do it, you know, I forget, but I do it sometimes. You know, your feet are carrying your whole weight all the time. We completely forget about these aspects. So if you're kind with yourself, if you're happy with yourself, then in any relationship, you'll be able to be kind and, you know, and happy. And no matter what, wherever it is. The relationship can be with circumstances too. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a person. Your relationship with your work, your relationship with your attitude, your relationship with your mind, your relationship with the place, the circumstance, the country, or the language, or the culture, or the people, or, you know, there's a million different types of relationship we can have, but it all starts with us, with me, right? How do I relate to myself? Okay, so reincarnation. So Dharma talks about reincarnation, and basically the concept of reincarnation is very simple. It's just transformation, right? So basically it's like, it's a school we're learning. So we learn, there's a process of learning. Until we don't learn that, it's going to keep happening. Once we learn that, then we'll move forward. And then this body, I mean, of course, it's just a concept. I mean, this body looks really solid, doesn't it? Or this table. But it's just an interpretation, because actually it's all vibrating. If you look at it at the quantum level, you know, it's like most of it is empty. And then it's vibrating, and, you know, like so many different things are happening, but we see it like that, in that kind of aspect. So this body is temporary. I mean, is this body ours? We say, oh, it's mine, this is mine, the car is mine, the house is mine, it's my life, da 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 da. But actually, this body can disappear anytime, right? And the car is my car, but maybe tomorrow somebody stole it. Then how come it was yours? If it was yours, nobody could steal it from you. If your life was yours, nobody could kill you, right? So what is really ours, if you think about it? What is ours? My attitude is mine, right? My inner true values. My values are mine. Nobody can steal my values. When I share the values, they multiply, right? And I can take those values to the next life. The merit, the imprint. So those are the things that are really ours. And that's what reincarnation is about, you know? It's about transformation, about change. And how, you know, I mean, if you think about it, if we just are born and then we die and that's it, it's a little bit depressing, no? Don't you think? For me, it's a beautiful way of seeing life, you know, as transformation. We're here in the process to learn, to share, to understand. Then we move on to another process to learn, to share, to understand, until eventually we get somewhere. I don't know. Dharma talks about, you know, like being liberated from samsara, having direct realization of emptiness, creating bodhicitta, which is, you know, compassion and putting into action that compassion. You know, so it's different, many different levels, and then being liberated from samsara, getting out of samsara, and eventually reaching enlightenment. But of course, right now it's the concept. But we can kind of relate to that in an everyday life, right? The less we think about ourselves, the more we think about others, the more happier we are, the more light-hearted. And so just like that a little bit. So I think reincarnation is an opportunity. It's a way to see things that, hey, you know, we have an opportunity. You know, it's not just if we are not able to accomplish everything we want this life, at least we can do it next life. Hopefully. But in the end, it's all about like evolution and de-evolution. You know, you can improve, and the more you improve, the more habits that you created are constructive, the easier it is to do that. And the more destructive and more kind of like easy, it becomes more easy to like go that way. And if you talk about reincarnation, you know, for example, you would be reborn as a tiger maybe, that has absolutely no option but to kill and to create suffering in order to survive. So you are put in a situation where you are actually de-evolving. And then maybe to get out of that kind of de-evolving line is much harder as a tiger. So you have to survive, right? I mean, it is nature, it is the process, but if you think about it, it's like that. And maybe if you create the good habits like that, maybe you're born in a vegetarian family who really take care of the environment and are really kind, like that, and those are the values that they teach you, and then you grow up in that situation, and it's much easier to keep evolving. So basically that's how I see it, is good and bad, you know, or light and dark. It's more about your own, you know, like so what you choose, whether you want to evolve, you want to de-evolve, it's up to you, you know. It's a dualistic way of thinking, but conventionally, for now, that's, you know, a good attitude to think, hey, which direction do I want to go? And whichever direction I choose, it's going to be easier to do that. You know, the American Indians, they have this kind of saying, they say, you know, we have two wolves, one is a black wolf, the other one is a white wolf, and we choose which wolf to feed, and whichever one we feed is going to become the prevalent wolf in our life. So it's a little bit like that. We choose which direction we want to go. And then suffering. So we actually did talk about suffering quite a lot. It is a perception. For a masochist, to get whipped is pleasure. For me, it's not pleasure. I could call it suffering. But of course, it's temporary suffering. That's what we have to understand. That all happiness and suffering, at least in the conventional level, is temporary. So if we are bigger than our problems, the suffering can become smaller. You know, in Spanish we have a saying that says, "No hay mal que por bien no venga," which means there's nothing bad that comes that does not have a positive effect, right? That doesn't have a positive result. But that's up to us to see it and to put it into practice. I think it's so important to have a positive attitude in life, always, to have compassion, to have, you know, that desire to help people, to be better, to strive to be better in order to be able to help others. As an example, through sharing, because that's what life is about, right? If you're alone in the world, it will be a bit, I don't know, for me I would get depressed. I mean, like if I can't share, receive and give, you know, that's, for me life is about sharing. Life is about sharing, it's about caring. And in Dharma I say, if there's no sentient beings, how can you become enlightened? There are no sentient beings, you can only have bodhicitta with yourself. And, you know, I mean, of course you have to start having compassion for yourself, but eventually that's the purpose, is to help others. So it's an interdependent relationship. We are helping each other. We cannot exist without an interdependence, without depending on many different factors. So recognizing that helps us to be more humble and more grateful, to want to repay that. That's why in Dharma they say many times, all mother sentient beings. You start with all the motivations and the dedication, all mother sentient beings. Why does it say that? Because if we've been in samsara and we've been born and reborn for infinite lifetimes, we have all been each other's mother. And the love between a mother and the children is unconditional, right? Deep down, it's unconditional, no matter what. So that unconditional love, that's what it's talking about. In order to have that unconditional love for everyone. You know, starting with yourself, all sentient beings, even if it's an ant or an amoeba. Imagine, an amoeba has feelings. You know, they're attracted by food, and when you poke them, they don't like it. Scientific. So if an amoeba has that, of course an ant is going to have it, you know. I mean, it's not like, oh, the ant doesn't matter, you know. Of course it matters. So anyways, that's a little bit more complex, but at least to have that attitude towards the people that surround you, the people that you relate to, starting with yourself. So every day, who do you relate to? The people that you see in the street, at work, you know, that relationship, that's why it's so important, you know, like for example, your parents, your partner, the people you work with. It's an opportunity to improve, to give the best of yourself, So that's beautiful. And then, of course, if somebody throws you a black energetic ball, transform it. And maybe eventually they'll come back to you. Everything will come back to you. You know, whatever you give comes back to you no matter what. So the more good you give, the more like that, the better, the more it comes. Anyways. How are we with time? Is everybody, is it good? Yeah? Okay, I'll try to make it fast, okay? The right action, I think we've gone through most of it. Emotions. Emotions is quite important actually, because our attitude is quite an important part of emotions. If we are proud, I think, oh, I'm so important. That kind of attitude will trigger an emotion where immediately we'll react badly or whatever. But if you think, oh, I'm just part of something, I'm interdependent, I'm grateful, then that attitude will help a different type of emotion, which is constructive, a beautiful emotion. And that will, in return, make us more happy. So emotion is very important to check, always. You know, especially like anger, for example. When anger is about to come, check, why is it coming, how is it coming, the whole process. The more you observe, the more you understand. So anyways, that's about, you know, how to put Dharma in practice. You know, love, that's a little bit, small aspect of love. How to offer service. I think that's the first step of offering service also. You know, if you improve yourself, the more impact it has. If you don't work on yourself, the service that you're going to give is not going to have the same impact. And that is how we're going to build a better future. So basically we have the Buddha potential by nature and by development. So we are in charge of the development. By nature we have that. Everybody has that. So it's up to us to develop that. So anyways, I really hope that it's been helpful. And for me, the thing that worries most is to create confusion or to say something that's not right. So please, you know, if there's any mistake, please correct me. And so anyways, any questions? Not too dangerous, please.
Well, when are you coming back again?
When am I coming back? Oh, I don't know. The next second? No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, I think probably next year I'll be back again for another 20 days because I'm doing a course with Geshe Tenzin Amdallah. We're so lucky to have Geshe Tenzin Amdallah here. Wow. I know him since 1993, I think, or 1993, 1994, something. So that's many years, about maybe 25, 24 years at least, for sure. I know him. And I've never seen any fault in him. And I'm a very analytical person. I'm always started looking, thinking, analyzing, weighing this, you know. For me, it's something that happened, and I try to always kind of check myself and, you know, kind of, okay. But it happens, and I tell you, like for me, Geshe Tenzin Amdallah, he's an amazing example, really. So, I mean, we're so lucky to have him here, really. Wow. So I really thank Lama Osel for sending him here. He's really, Geshe Tenzin Amdallah, what he wants to do is go into retreat and meditate. That's what he wants. But Lama Osel was like, yeah, no, but you have to teach now. So thank you, Rinpoche, thank you. And thank you, Geshe Tenzin Amdallah, also for such dedication, you know, for having so much patience. And he's amazingly humble, you know, and he's so knowledgeable. And he's really amazing practitioner, you know, I know, I've seen. Just the way, the dedication, the passion he has, constantly. He never, you know, wavers, he's always present, mindful. So that's, I think, a great example. And I think the way that we learn the best is through the example. So I think that's also one of really good ways to help is by being the example. And going back to parenting, I think also one of the best ways as a parent is also to be the example. What you want to offer, what you want to teach, what you want them to learn is through example. You know, so if, for example, you and your partner are shouting at each other, then that example, the kid is going to shout at you because that's the way, what he sees, how people relate to each other. But if you talk really gently, with kindness to your partner or to whoever it is all the time, he'll see that example and that's what he will learn from. So normally we learn from society, we learn from our surroundings. We kind of reflect that a little bit. So we start with that. We start with the example, that's huge. It's going to have huge effect. The butterfly effect, right? For thousands of years, even if we may not believe it, you know, it does have a huge effect. Okay, I don't want to bore you anymore. Yes? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't like to call it a retreat. I call it more like a package. I call it like a habit alignment, being experience package or something. So it goes around. But retreat sounds a little. But yeah, it's, I don't know what. It's happening. I'm learning the process. So I did the first one. Yeah. Okay. Summer camp, yeah. It's more of a habit alignment. It's about creating new habits.
Summer in UK.
Summer. Yeah, but it's about learning how to feed yourself, nutrition, exercise, mental clarity, mental exercise. You know, it's many different types of aspects in life. You create that habit, so when you leave, you input that habit into your everyday life. Just basically to improve your life, basically to be more happy. So that's what I'm trying to do. I feel that's my kind of like my forte, you know, because I thought, you know, like what is my ikigai? You know what ikigai? It's like what you're good at, how can you help, you know, society, like all these things put together, you know. So I found maybe that's my ikigai, you know, to do these habit alignment courses. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking me. I'll try my best, and yeah, I'll be super happy to do it, definitely. But it's quite unconventional, so it's an experimental kind of. So I am learning in the process. So we're all learning together. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be very happy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please do it here.
Okay. Okay. So, any more questions? Are we good? Yes.
Spanish phrase that where something bad happens, but it's something good if you're willing to see it.
With the phrase, yeah. No hay mal que por bien no venga.
Oh God, okay.
No hay mal there's nothing bad, que por bien, that for good does not happen. Que por bien no venga. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm really sorry if I wasn't able to, get that subject. I know, sometimes I'm still learning, so it is, and there's so many different aspects, but so.
It was a tricky one for you.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes.
I do have a request
Yes.
about your new project with planting trees.
Yeah.
So please extend to the country of where your son was born.
Brazil. Yes, definitely, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. See you soon. Thank you. The dedication. We have to dedicate. Okay, can we do that? Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for, that was really courageous, can I say?
So we had the motivation at the beginning and then the dedication. So we can do that every day, in the morning and at night. So dedication. It's basically saying, okay, what I have done, the time, the energy, the space that I have given and received, may we put it into practice and dedicate that for all mother sentient beings, to reach a happier state of mind. And eventually the ultimate happiness and the liberation from samsara and enlightenment, etc. So that's the dedication. May we, dedicate this for all those mother sentient beings, all those people who are suffering every day, who have so much difficulty, who are so overwhelmed by suffering that they don't have the capacity to even think about a possible way of change. So dedicate to them. And yeah, not to be overwhelmed, but really to put into practice every day, slowly. So let's dedicate that. And basically in the Dharma Buddhist point of view, dedication is a little bit like, when you do the prayers, it's like saying, okay, I got these merits, let's put it in the bank, right, where it doesn't get destroyed by emotional hijacks, right? So for example, I guess Dharma says, when you get angry, you burn a lot of merits, or when you do certain actions, you burn merits. So when you dedicate, it's like you protect those merits from getting burnt. In a way, you can think like that. So that it's a little bit egoist, but anyways, it's a concept. It's a concept. So dedicate. So you put them in a place where you can use them. That accumulates. You have to accumulate merits in order to create the circumstances to have the potential, the possibility to continue. To continue practicing Dharma and learning. So without the accumulation of merits, it's very difficult. So that's dedication, to keep them. So anyways, we do the traditional way. Chonju semjo rimboje mage banam geguje kiwara nyambara mebarya kone kondo pewara sho gewadi nyodo da lama sangye dugyo dowara chigya maleba tei sala gewara sha Kare rawe korwe shingham di pendang dewa malu jungwen Jendre siwan tenzin gyatso yi shabe side pardu tengyuru ji Thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you.